For most of human history, money wasn't metal. It wasn't paper. It wasn't even the glowing numbers on a screen. It was far stranger and far more revealing. Long before gold coins, long before banknotes, and long before the first European and Asian financial systems, one of the world's great civilizations built an economy around something that might seem almost unbelievable today, the seed of a fruit, the bitter seed that would one day become chocolate. But to the Maya, cacao wasn't candy. It was status. It was ritual. It was power. And eventually, it became currency, a fully functioning monetary system that moved armies, funded cities, and shaped the politics of an entire region. It wasn't just money made from a plant. It was money built from an idea that value doesn't have to come from metal, or stone, or anything mined from the earth. It could be grown, cultivated, traded, and consumed. If you think today's financial systems are inventive, the Maya were already expanding the very definition of what money could be. Welcome to the wet equations where money, power, and history collide, and nothing is ever as simple as it looks. To understand why cacao could become currency, you first have to understand the Maya, not the Hollywood version, not the simplified textbook version, but the civilization that thrived across southern Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, and El Salvador. The Maya reached their peak during what historians call the Classic Period, roughly 250 to 900 C. This wasn't a handful of jungle villages. This was monumental cities. Tikal, Calakmul, Palenque, chopped in home to tens of thousands, with towering stone temples, road networks, administrative elites, and the mathematical and the astronomical knowledge that rivaled anything in Europe at the time. And these cities weren't just ceremonial centers. They were economic engines. They needed steady supplies of maize, squash, beans, salt, obsidian, jade, textiles, and dyes, all without draft animals, wheeled transport, or pack caravans. Everything moved through human logistics, porters, canoes, organized merchant groups. You don't build cities on that scale unless you have an economy powerful enough, stable enough, and complex enough to sustain them. The Maya weren't primitive. They were economic problem solvers. Their agricultural systems, stretching irrigation canals, raised fields, and forest gardens, supported dense populations. Their political power rested on dynastic kings whose legitimacy depended not only on ritual authority but on their ability to manage trade networks and secure tribute. At the heart of Maya life were bustling marketplaces, open plazas where farmers, artisans, traders, and nobles negotiated prices for everything from food to tools to ceremonial goods. These markets weren't occasional fairs. They were daily operations, regulated by officials who ensured fair dealing. Think of them as the beating heart of Maya urban life, where supply met demand, where value was negotiated, and where wealth changed hands. And to make markets work on that scale, you need something every major economy eventually invents: a reliable medium of exchange. The Maya didn't begin with coins or ingots. They began with value, cultural value, symbolic value. And from that, they created trust, the foundation of all money. Cacao, long before it became a treat in European chocolate houses, was a sacred substance in Mesoamerica, consumed almost exclusively by elites as a rich, frothy drinking ceremonies, diplomacy, and royal rituals. Cacao appeared in mythology, marriage ceremonies, offerings, and political alliances. In other words, cacao had embedded value. People believed in it. They respected it. They treated it as precious. That's the first requirement of money: collective belief. Archaeologists have found cacao beans stored in carefully counted bundles. Maya codices, murals, and tribute lists recorded cacao as units of payment, taxes, wages, fines, all measured in beans. Suddenly, this isn't symbolic wealth. This is currency. By the late Classic Period, cacao was everywhere in Maya economic life. You could buy food, tools, cloth, or craft goods with it. You could pay a laborer's daily wage with it. A rabbit cost 10 beans. A turkey hen, 100. A cotton shirt, 20 to 25. A git stone tool, 3 to 5. These numbers come from colonial records and the archaeological evidence. They reveal a real, functioning monetary system, not a quirky alternative to barter. Barter is direct: my grain for your cloth. Cacao was different. It wasn't tied to a single transaction. It became a universal medium of exchange. The Maya weren't improvising. They were operating a stable currency based on something everyone valued and understood. But cacao money brought challenges that will feel very familiar today. Inflation, scarcity, supply chain importance. A plant could die, mold, or fail under drought. A monetary system tied to harvests could face a liquidity crisis. And yet, it worked for centuries. The Maya built a layered financial system around it. Cacao wasn't the only form of currency. It was the most flexible, portable, and widely recognized, but it existed inside a hierarchy of value. Tier 1, cacao beans, everyday currency for small transactions. Tier 2, cotton mantles, woven textiles for larger purchases and regional trade. Hollowed cacao beans filled with sand circulated widely enough that markets developed quality controls. Inflation existed too. Cacao trees grew only in warm, humid lowlands. Control over productive regions meant control over the money supply. Droughts or disease contracted it. Good harvests expanded it. Prices fluctuated accordingly. Cacao wasn't just a commodity.